Hi everybody, Chris here from Tree Holistic. I thought it was time for an updates video. In regards to this update's going to be based around the astral field. Okay, and up to this point, the astral field is something that I haven't really gone into depths with, and it's kind of why I haven't really gone into depths with it, because it hasn't come up a hell of a lot over the 6 months, year, to last couple of years. And the way that I keep myself very open-minded. This is a system that's very open-minded, true quantum healing. But also just go with the flow with what's coming through, what's my sources bringing through in regards to information or channeled information coming through to me. And then it's just a matter of connecting the dots together. There's a reason why some information comes through at that particular time, is channeled through. And a lot of information has been coming up a lot in regards to the astral field. Anybody that's been doing sessions with me will be aware of this. Now, what I'm going to start off with in the video is what I deemed what the astral field was, and what the information is that's coming through now is telling me what the astral field is. Now, I think for a lot of people, there are very spiritually minded and conscious people in regards to also activating the pineal gland, right? Everyone's pineal gland's been calcified, and we decalcify it. And the whole idea is that you have the pineal gland, the third eye, right? It's got optic receptors in it, and that's why it's called an eye. Is that awakens when melatonin is produced, right? And that's the initiation of sleep for the physical vehicle. Then all of a sudden, when that physical vehicle shuts down and goes to sleep, then our energy body goes out and play, and we call that astral traveling, right? And the whole idea is that we're in a reality within this physical vehicle, and then our energy body goes out and plays into what we call the astral field in regards to what is really happening out there, the real reality, so to speak. Now, that's what I've always thought what the astral field was all about, right? But what I'm coming to find is that the astral field is still part of the simulation. It's not part of the real world. That has been the manipulation here. It's not real, okay? Just like, and this goes down the rabbit hole quite a lot. If anybody's seen previous videos of my work in regards to what I deem reality is, and reality a programmed or simulated reality, it's brought up a lot of questions, not only now with the astral field, but just with terms like humanity or what a human is. And we'll talk a bit more about this in this video, is once we talk a bit more about the astral field, is that the astral field is an area of the simulation which has got many realms or realities within it. That's why you'll find that when you have a dream, it can be really, really weird. There are people that remember their dreams very vividly the following day. Some people, when they wake up, they know what they've been dreaming, and then all of a sudden they can't remember what that dream was about. But what a lot of people can remember is that the dream will go in a particular direction, and then it'll just take a sharp turn 180 degrees into something, a completely different reality, and something that just doesn't connect. And that's quite often when you're going within one realm into another, within this astral field. So when we're at astral traveling, it can be quite dangerous, and we can be exposed to a number of manipulations, okay? And that's what I've come to find, because at the moment we're being told to disconnect the astral field, okay? In a number of ways: connections, consciousness, the intelligence of the astral field, also sustenance. A certain part of your body will be sustaining energy from the astral field and not from a pure source. And another thing what we're being told to do, my channel's been telling me to do, is clear out fake light and bring in real light, okay? So what I mentioned earlier, about our pineal gland, it's got optic receptors in it for light, and light is a carrier of vibration and frequency. Is that it's been, a lot of the time, if it's been connected to the astral field, it's been getting fake light, not real light. So what we're talking about here is distorted frequency. For anybody that's had sessions with me will understand that we're doing this clearing for quite some time of clearing out non-compatible field and then transmuting into compatible field. And this idea translates to many ways of reality. For example, with Wi-Fi, cell phone towers, it's creating a frequency that is not compatible to us, right? And it creates problems. So what we're doing is that this non-compatible field is in the form of plasma energy, okay? And the plasma energy sustains or sources the astral field, okay? So when we're removing non-compatible field, we're removing that plasma field out, which is coming from that astral field, which we call fake light, not real light. So I guess the big question here is now, what is real? Where's this real light coming from? And that's your connection to your true source self. Okay, we could call that your higher self, we could call that your real self, we could call that your true self, we could call that your source self. Many names of the same thing. Okay, and this is really, you're looking at my simulated or coded self by looking at this video, okay? But there is a connection to where we originate from, our source self. A lot of people call that our soul. I like to call it our source self, okay? And that's where true light comes from, vibration and frequency. And that's that whole idea of that, if we're within a simulation, outside of the simulation is a reality, or a real reality, okay? And funnily enough, today, only a few hours before doing this video, I was told that the gateway of ascension is the astral, okay? For a long time, this comes into the idea of many questions. What does a human mean? What does it mean to be human or humanity? What does the ascension mean, okay? And what I've been told is that the ascension is really personal growth, right? And everyone uses that on a mainstream perspective, that we've got to grow, don't we? We can get stagnant in life. We need to grow, we need to learn, we need to develop new skill sets. This is essentially what ascension is. We're just ascending, but more on an energetic level or a spirituality form. But the ascension, or what I'm getting channeled, is still a simulation phenomena. It's not removing yourself from that simulation. That's not ascension. Ascension is, for example, you might have seen in previous videos, removing ourselves from this black cube simulation or reality, which was within a 3D form, which is a cube, into a hypercube or a tesseract, which is now a fourth dimensional structure, but it's still a simulation. We ascended from one simulation to another, but it's still a simulated reality. So that got me thinking, was this, again, this whole humanity thing. I know I'm going on a tangent here, but we will come back. Is that the word human or humanity is bound to the ascension. They're they're together, okay? So if we're saying the view of a human or humanity is based within a simulated reality, not real world or real reality, then the ascension is also based within the simulation. They're not based outside of the simulation. Okay, and I also get requests from people, and we were doing this for a wee while, learning about source heritage and knowing what being you are in your source heritage. And I never got human or humanity. I got Arcturian, I got you a Centaurian from Alpha Centauri or Beta Centauri. It could be Pleiadian or a being like that, but I never got human or humanity. And this has got me thinking, and I'm just putting this question out here. Again, this is just my view, and what I'm getting channeled here is that the word human or humanity is a programmed being. It's not it's a simulation. It's a software. It's not a real being. And quite often what we got told about how humans were created was that we are just a mixture of so many aliens, or so many beings, or aliens, or extraterrestrials, DNA put together and spliced together to create a human, right? Now, maybe we've been looking at it the wrong way. We've been looking at it from a physical perspective, but maybe it was more them stitching DNA, RNA, telomeres together to create a software within the simulated reality, because if we're within a simulated or programmed reality, we're being controlled to a certain degree, aren't we? There is someone at the mixing desk of that reality. And when they instill certain components together, then they create that reality. And maybe a human or humanity is part of that reality. It's like that game The Sims, right? And maybe it's not aliens or extraterrestrials putting DNA together in a physical reality, it's putting software together. Okay. And when we talk about multidimensional, it's jumping perhaps out, in and out of the simulation into the real world, which maybe these Arcturian beings, these reptilian beings, all these other beings can do, but are humans or humanity's part of that? No, I don't think so. I think it's part of a human or a humanity is part of a software or part of a simulation reality. Okay, you get me here. And when we talk about humanity ascending or humans ascending to a level that they've never reached before, well, I'm sorry, but I feel that's just still part of a simulation. I reckon we can go further than that. We can get outside of this reality and figure out what's going on. So anyway, let's jump back. Also, I also got the guidance when it said the gateway of ascension is the astral. Is that the next question was, is ascension a manipulation then? And it said, well, ascension is a manipulation of reality. Okay. And one big thing here at Truly Holistic is the forefront thing here at my mind of healing people with health problems is we need to understand what reality is. We need to ask these big questions. We need to jump outside of the box, even at a spiritual level, at a consciousness level. You know, jumping outside the box of what we deem spirituality or consciousness, a soul, a aura, chakra system, jumping outside of that box and looking back in and asking some questions. Perhaps humanity is a program, it's a software, perhaps. Putting it out there. I'd love to hear your comments. Anyway, let's get back to the astral field. Okay, so what we've been doing is clearing out fake light, bringing true light in, okay? And why we're doing that is we're just disconnecting from the astral and we're connecting you to your source self. We're connecting to part of you that belongs outside of this simulation. Because remember, the astral is still part of the simulated reality. It's kind of been this deception, okay? What we're also doing here a lot at the moment here in sessions at Truly Holistic, we're doing activations. There's been an emphasis on activations, DNA activations, RNA activations, telomeres activations. Now, essentially, a breakdown of DNA is the coding that you got from your parents, or your family, the lineage, so to speak. RNA is your own personal coding. Now, telomeres, which we know about telomeres, are they're like the little shoe laces, little caps on the end. There's like the caps of your chromosomes, telomeres. And what we do know from a scientific point of view is that telomeres, they shorten as we chronologically age, okay? If a certain area is breaking down, so for example, someone is having an issue with their right hip and they need a hip replacement, the telomeres within the chromosomes that are connected to that right hip will be shorter than maybe the left hip that's doing fine. So it's been used as a bit of a guideline of aging or how much time you've got left in a certain area of your body until it gets so short that you die. Now, what I've come to find with the DNA and the RNA and the telomeres, they are like solar panels for frequency or light, okay? And as I say, light is a channel of vibration and frequency. And when we give it a broad spectrum of light, therefore vibration frequency, we can activate more of our DNA, activate more of our RNA, and activate more of our telomeres, okay? This is bringing the more multi-dimensional self, a connection closer to our source self, okay? In what we call real light, not fake light, okay? So we've been using a number of activations. Got qubits, rings that are activators. For example, that's which I sell here at Truly Holistic in my product page. That's the telomere qubit, and that ring activates telomerase, an enzyme that helps slow the shortening process for your telomeres, perhaps even lengthen them. Okay, and then I've got a qubit, and this is all information that's been channeled to me. Again, what we see in the tensor ring and the tensor technology community is that, and God bless them for people like Slim Sperling and people that brought all this information forth, but kind of following the trend. Hey, there's the Sacred Royal Qubit, the Galactic Qubit, Lost Qubit, but let's not follow the crowd. Let's channel a consciousness that can bring us more information, new qubit lengths, new facilitators of energy, because these tools are just within our reality and allowing a facilitation of an energy that has always been there. For example, when I hold that ring up, the energy is not within the ring. It's not the twisted knot. It's not within the ring. The energy is within the space that there is nothing. Okay, it's just there in it's a physical manifestation that allows our brain or our capacity within this reality to know something is there or within it. Okay, otherwise, if you didn't have that there, there's nothing, right? But if we've got it, that ring, it's a facilitator for energy, that a beam of light that is going through the ring. And we know that if we get somebody to stand over top of that ring or place a part of their body within the ring, then they are being exposed to a certain frequency or a light of energy that will have a healing effect. Also, lost qubit ring, which is an activation of DNA. So when you all of a sudden bring these rings together, you've got a resonance of energy that can activate DNA, RNA, and telomeres. Okay, the solar panels of light to bring into you to get a closer connection to the real reality or your source self. So these are very powerful, but I needed to channel a consciousness to find out what the activator was for RNA and telomeres, because there's no point just continually working on DNA. We're more than that, you know, and that's what we're doing. Another tool I've been really using a lot, it's called the activation key, and this comes from Brian Besco in regards to Twisted Sage. They've got a tool there which is very similar to that one. This is a little bit different. I went through my channel in regards to the size they wanted me to have the most power or potency. And what we use this to, it's called an activation key, and we just activate an area to go to a very higher level of healing. And it's usually an area of that person's body that's had a number of problems with it, and we just use that to activate healing within that area of the body. Again, it's activating components or parts to ourselves that are in line with our source self, not some of these places that have kind of been manipulating or fake realities, which we can call the astral field. What I want to do, finishing off the video, is I'm going to show you, the tool that I use the majority of my clearings on, and how it kind of connects with this whole idea of the astral field and our simulated reality. So I'm just going to bring the camera here. So what you can see here is, get my coffee out the way, it's not a good look, is it? Now this is a tesseract, okay? This is a hypercube. Okay, so you can see that there's a cube inside here, if I put my hand in it, and then there's a greater cube, which is this one, based in here, okay? Now, I got told that, okay, we were going to go into a cube, right, reality, into a hypercube, which is a fourth dimensional structure, and you're looking at it now. Now, we are currently within this cube here, okay? That's where we are. Now, between this cube and then this cube, this space in here, in the immediate space, if I bring it on this view, okay, that is the astral field, okay? So we want to go from here, if we want to escape the simulation, we want to go from here and then beyond this outer cube, and this is real reality. In the immediate space, we've got an astral field, okay, and that's been a bit of an issue for us. And that's currently what we're working on now, and that's why we're getting so much information facilitating what we need to do in regards to the astral field. Now these little cords or connections here, which initially was told to me be the gateway of ascension, is part of the astral, and look at that. It is. This space here is the astral, and that's where the connections are, from one cube to the other. So what we need to do is we are trying to clear out this space here, so therefore we can get in connection to the real reality. Okay, so I thought I'd just show you that and it gives you a little bit more perspective of it's part of that simulation, which is the hypercube. Okay, so I hope you've really enjoyed this video. I hope you've really learned something from this video, and a lot of questions as well. I'd love to hear your comments on what resonates with you from this video, and maybe some other comments that you'd like to add. I'd love to hear from you. Anyway, I'll catch you next time.